Honorable members, I want to welcome you to this afternoon sitting. We are cognizant of the flight and the fate that Dr. Besigye Kiza, who remains in a pre-trial detention in Luzera prisons, despite the Supreme ruling, which took place on 31st January 2025. The Supreme Court directed the executive to take immediate action, including amendment of the UPDF Act and the transfer of the civilian courts of all active cases involving civilians and the military court. However, to date, uncertainty prevails on the status of implementation of the directive of the Supreme Court. For the sake of clarity, I would like to pose the following questions to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, to the Attorney General, and the Minister of Internal Affairs. 1. Have the legal advisors to government rendered appropriate advice on the continued pre-trial detention of an ailing Dr. Besigye? 2. What is the legal basis for the continued detention of Dr. Besigye in Luzera? 3. Under what instrument does Uganda Prison Service continue to hold Dr. Besigye? 4. What steps have you taken to comply with the Supreme Court directive? 5. How long will we take to conclude the transfer of all active cases involving civilians from the General Court Martial to the civilian courts? 6. What sustainable action have been taken to address the concerns surrounding the health of Dr. Besigye? As a House of Representatives, we are a voice of the voiceless. We are elected to speak for those people out there who cannot be in this house. So if we cannot do that, then we are not representing our people. The continued detention of unwell suspected sets a dangerous precedence that may be applied to any one of us. Injustice to anyone is injustice to everybody. Today it is happening to Dr. Besigye, tomorrow it will happen to any of us. There is need to explore other appropriate modalities of confinement, if necessary, than keeping the ailing suspect in unfavorable conditions that may potentially be fatal. I am aware there are legal regimes that govern the pre-trial detention on treatment of suspects with peculiar circumstances, notably the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and the Trial on Indictment Act, 1971. Honorable members, I'm aware that the presiding officer previously addressed some aspects of this matter on 28th January 2025, on 4th February, on 6th February, and I will not revise his guidance on that. I will therefore invoke Rule 25(1) of the Rules of Procedure and vary the order paper to accommodate to receive an update from the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, from the Minister of Internal Affairs, from the Attorney General on the questions I have asked. Thank you.
He told me the following. As of today, Colonel Kiza Besigye has been on hunger strike for 6 days. This is his 7th day. He is only taking water. He's not eating any food. The Commissioner General informed me that because of the hunger strike, his health has deteriorated, and therefore he had to be evacuated to a hospital. His personal doctor took charge of the evacuation in the presence of Colonel Besigye's sister, Dr. Olive Kobusinje. It's not appropriate for me to report details of what was found. This is a part of the doctor-patient confidentiality. But the Commissioner General said definitely his health condition is alarming. Under all the laws of Uganda, any person, especially those who are having health issues, are entitled to treatment. And in this case, the prison authorities were able to take him to the hospital. Comprehensive tests were carried out, and the doctors are managing him. The Commissioner General also informed me that Colonel Kizza Besigye has continued and continues with the hunger strike. And that means, of course, that any medical response will not have a major impact. He will not improve because of the hunger strike. Now, concerning your other question about the advice, the laws, what steps we have taken, how long it will take to transfer the files, I wish to report the following.
Honorable Minister, just on hunger strike. He's not on hunger strike because he loves to be on. He's unfairly treated. He's on unfair trial.
Hunger strike is a form of protest, and I accept what you have stated. He is protesting through hunger strike. All through history, prisoners who feel that they are being unjustly incarcerated have resorted to hunger strike. So, but it is not my purpose to go into detail why he's on hunger strike. I simply reported his condition, and we admit that it is alarming. Now, permit me, Madam Speaker, to respond to...
And as a legal advisor to government, after knowing that his conditions, have you given government to that effect?
Because you gave me a set of questions, and I would like us to go through the chronology of what we have done. The judgment was delivered on 31st January, which was a Friday. Immediately on Monday, Madam Speaker, the Attorney General wrote to the Ministry of Defense and the DPP. That is the very next working day after the judgment. The Attorney General wrote, informing them that the cases should now be transferred. On the 3rd, the very same day, the Attorney General also wrote to the Chief Justice, asking the Chief Justice to appoint a judicial officer to be in charge of liaison concerning the transfer, who should liaise between all the actors. That is the first working day after the judgment. On the 4th of February, the Chief Justice wrote back appointing the principal judge as the liaison officer. That is the second working day after the judgment. On the 6th of February, the Attorney General's Chambers forwarded the letter of the Chief Justice to the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs and to the DPP. Around that time, Madam Speaker, we were here and I came to the floor and stated that it is the duty of Colonel Besigye's lawyers and the lawyers of all those who are in the court-martial to extract a decree that is part of their responsibility to their client. This decree only arrived on the 13th of February, almost 2 weeks after the judgment. That is when we received the draft decree. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the draft decree had errors. Some of the errors were as obvious as wrong names, for instance. On the 14th of February, that is last Friday, the Attorney General's Chambers corrected...
Do you have a copy of the decree which was extracted?
Madam Speaker, the errors were corrected and the corrected decree was sent to the lawyers of Colonel Besigye. We have not yet received the corrected decree. If we have received it as of now, we corrected it from the Ministry of Justice. We are concerned by the slow pace of Colonel Besigye's lawyers. I have stated the chronology. You cannot take 2 weeks. If really you are concerned about the condition of your client, rather than the politics surrounding that, they should have acted as fast as Attorney General's Chambers.
Honorable Norbert Mao, help us to help you. The wrong copy of the decree, so that we shall now take the blame to who? To the lawyers.
Right, Honourable Speaker, this judgment was given inter partes. Government was represented in a court. Number two, we no longer, by the way, extract decrees. Chairman Mao, my colleague, we no longer extract decrees for purposes of execution. Court decisions by nature, especially at the level of Supreme Court, are self-executing. You don't need a decree to act. So if judgment was passed inter partes, what more are you getting from a decree? What exactly more are you looking for in a decree? So I really think that perhaps we could use other arguments, but let extraction of a decree, by the way, with or without a decree, that judgment is self-executing. You ought to have acted even without any hesitation. Unfortunately, because you see the danger with mentioning the decree, you have many other people who are affected by that decision of the Supreme Court who don't have lawyers. What happens to them? What happens to them? So I think, Honourable Speaker, it is advisable that Chairman Mao and Executive, you use other reasons for delaying the release of Dr. Besigye other than a decree.
I asked you, under what legal regime, legal basis, are you using to keep him there? He could be having a case to answer. He could be having a case to answer. But he should be taken to the proper court for him to be able to answer. Under what legal regime?
Madam Speaker, I think it is obvious that when you have been remanded by a court, and the court-martial is a court, it is only the boundaries of the court-martial that have been delineated by the Supreme Court. The court-martial has not been abolished. The court-martial has not been abolished. The court-martial is the one that remanded Colonel Kizza Besigye. Now, the release of Colonel Kizza Besigye will be ordered by the court, the appropriate court, when he is taken before that court.
Honorable Mao, when you look at Article 23 of the Constitution, protection of personal liberty, no person shall be deprived of personal liberty except in any of the following cases: in execution of the sentence or order of the court. Now here, the court ordered that Dr. Besigye should be what? Released. Now, you're depriving him his liberty.
Madam Speaker, first, I hope this Parliament is persuaded that we did our duty as the Ministry of Justice. We did our duty. We responded very quickly because these letters which we wrote were about the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court did not order the release of anybody.
There's an order from Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are in arguments with the Minister of Justice. We are supposed to be the custodian of the law of this country. We are here, instead of the Minister of Justice coming here to tell us the law is supposed to do this, and this is what we are doing, is standing the other side to defend what is undefendable, Madam Speaker. We expect the Minister of Justice to behave what the Parliament expects him to behave, much as you are appointed by the President. But if you are also coming here to behave like the chairman of the court martial, we are at pain. We are at pain, Honorable Minister. We are at pain. Madam Speaker, is it in order for the Minister, who is a member of Parliament, to come here and instead of debating like a minister, is debating like the chairman of the court martial? Is it in order, Madam Speaker?
Honorable members, we need to solve a problem. And the problem we need to solve is about an ailing person. And secondly, using a law which is not there to keep somebody in detention when somebody is on pre-trial. Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, under what instruments are you using to hold Dr. Kizza Besigye in prison?
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I understand the background to this matter, and I don't envy the Honorable Mao for being in this position. But I want also us to be, as we seek a solution within the law, I think we have about 3 matters to address. There is the health aspect of Dr. Besigye, but also there is wait a minute, I think we should be civilized enough to listen to each other. There's also the issue of the exercise of rights and the extent to which you can go, which really is an individual discretion, in this case of Dr. Besigye. And then the last one are the processes to effect the court decision. So, Right Honorable Speaker, as we address this question, I would want us to reconcile all the 3, instead of, if I may say so, going back and forth, and we need to craft a solution around the 3. But for now, I want to report, like the Honorable Minister said, the health aspects of Dr. Besigye are being addressed. Yesterday...
No, Honorable Minister...
Yesterday...
Honorable members, just hold on, Honorable Ministers. Very important point, that we need to get a way to solve this problem. And that is what we want. We want a problem solved. And it's leading us to a better direction. Yes. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, like I said, we need to reconcile all the 3. I had the occasion also to speak to Commissioner General, and he said yesterday they took the doctor to a clinic of his choice.
And, I've asked a question. I am saying under which instrument are you allowing to keep somebody in your cells? That is your property. Basically that. And that's what the Honorable Minister is saying. We need to sit down and reconcile and see how best this can be handled.
Right Honorable Speaker, until the processes around effecting the court decision,
yes,
the doctor is still in custody according to the order that took him there.
Honorable Speaker, this morning I had a meeting with colleagues on this side, and to be honest, we were getting increasingly concerned about this, our people-centered parliament, because these are matters of the people, and we are clearly getting agitated. I am glad, Right Honorable Speaker, that we are now in unison dealing with this matter, because we have raised it severally, and we did not seem to see an end in sight. We did not think that this people-centered parliament was appearing as such. Honorable Speaker, there's only 2 ways that somebody can be held in any government jail. One, when you have been convicted and sentenced, whether it be to life or whichever number of years, legally speaking. Number two is when you have been remanded by a court of competent jurisdiction. Those are the only two ways under which somebody can be in any government jail. It is not, as some have said, a hostel. It is not some kind of hotel or I don't know what. It is only those two legally provided for means. Honorable Speaker, we have asked again and again, after the Supreme Court decision, which rendered the court-martial defunct, it ceased to be. That's one. For those who know the law, we kept asking, why has government continued to hold on to these people? And those are questions we have not gotten any answers to, right, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the excuse by the Honorable Chairman Mao does not hold any water at all. For you to say that the lawyers of Dr. Kizza Besigye have delayed to extract a decree, the Attorney General, whom you supervise, Chairman Mao, was the party to this matter. He is the one who appealed this matter. So for you to give an excuse, you see, we did not know what was happening. We were in our chambers waiting for these lawyers to come and serve us the extracted decree. Are you kidding me? You were a party to this matter. You are the ones who went to the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeal had determined this matter. But your chambers, sir, decided to appeal this matter. How do you then feign ignorance at this point? Honorable Speaker, this is a non-partisan matter. At least it should be. I've given several examples, and I'm sorry, my colleague, I keep referring to you. I don't know if he's here. Honorable Paul Akamba, who is an NRM member. That man was granted bail by a court of competent jurisdiction, and he was kidnapped, abducted by gun-wielding goons within court precincts. He's not an opposition member, he's an NRM member, but it happened to him. That's what happens when you don't deal with injustices. And by the way, Honorable Speaker, these abductions continue to happen. Yesterday, a leader within my party, our head of mobilization, the one Fred Nyanzi Sentamu, was abducted in similar manner. And we are saying these things should stop because they are within the control of the state. Honorable Speaker, here is the ultimate remedy. One, I'm glad that as Parliament we are putting our foot down. This Parliament here is where we are going to fight our battles. I know we can use all other spaces we have out there, radios, TVs, and so on. But as members of Parliament, this is our #1 fighting space. And we shall use it to fight for our people. Right, Honorable Speaker, now that we have talked about the health, the ailing health, the very frail situation in which Dr. Kizza Besigye is, I went to see him in jail yesterday. He could not get out of bed to come and see us. But we saw the other political prisoners, the Bobby Youngs and others, who are suffering in similar manner. Can the state give us a timeline on when they are going to release these people? That is the ultimate remedy. Because the excuse there has been of, you see, we are waiting for the DPP to take over these cases. One, you're not supposed to direct the DPP. If the DPP is interested in any matter, these people should have been released, and then they can be summoned. Because the DPP, right, Honorable Speaker, the DPP does not sanction court files. The DPP sanctions police files. So you cannot say the DPP is waiting for these court files to be transferred from the disciplinary court martial. That does not arise at all. These people ought to have been released a long time ago, and then the DPP could probably sanction any police file, and they can be summoned. They don't even have to be kidnapped, as we have seen happening. So, right, Honorable Speaker, the solution to this quandary, this predicament that we are grappling with, is to release Dr. Kizza Besigye and all of these other NUP political prisoners that are being held illegally. I'm hoping that government will see sense in that.
You know, people like Bariomus cannot even go to their villages now. Because people will start saying, why have you left your own? Honorable members, I want a leader of government business. Listen to me. I want us to have a session, a leader of government business, government chief whip, Honorable Chris Bariomusi, Honorable Mao, Honorable Mohosi, the Attorney General, and then on this side, we have the LOP, Shadow Attorney General, the CAO, Mujuche, Honorable Mujuche, Honorable Katuntu, Honorable Asumani, Honorable Sibambi, listen, Honorable, you're not going to choose for me. These are issues of legal and issues of life. We must make decisions there and come and report. And then Honorable Nandala. Eh? You don't want Nandala? Okay. We can have internal affairs. Internal affairs. Honorable members, we are going to adjourn the House for 10 minutes. We will have a meeting in the private. We are going to suspend the House for 10 minutes, and then we will come and report. If the 10 minutes is not enough, we shall still communicate. No worry for time. Time is on our... Rule 8 gives the Speaker all the powers. Honorable members, and we're waiting to hear from Honorable Mao and Minister of Internal Affairs and the Attorney General. Minister of Education is also here, but we'll handle his issue after the rules. But what is most crucial as of now is hearing from none other than the chairman.
Madam Speaker, in the spirit of truth and justice, I beg to make the following report pursuant to your directive. My delegation consisted of myself, the Minister of State for Internal Affairs, and the Deputy Attorney General. As the public face of justice, I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, for the seriousness with which you handle this matter, and I want to thank members for asserting their responsibility. I wish to assure you that government is also responsible. Responsibility means ability to respond, and we have responded. And now I wish to inform this House, Madam Speaker, that by the time we reached the court, the lawyers of Colonel Kiza Besigye had actually been engaging with the judiciary. Not the lawyers I'm talking about, these are the better lawyers. And they had agreed to reschedule the matter, which had been fixed for Tuesday. It is now going to come tomorrow. And during that sitting tomorrow, the court will give the appropriate directions, and they will definitely abide by the decree. The court had insisted that they needed the decree in order not to appear to overrule the Supreme Court. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Justice delayed is justice denied. We are very grateful that you've acted. Appreciation from Lop.
Right, Honorable. I want to appreciate this House for exerting, one, our authority, and speaking for people who are defenseless, held up in jail unfairly so. This is step number one. And look, even as I appreciate that government, after we have insisted and made noise and said, now you go, first deal with this matter, come back at 4. Let's not always wait for that back and forth. Yeah, for some of these things, just move. Why do you have to wait for us to come here, make a lot of noise, say, Madam Speaker, now this matter is urgent, deal with it, and so on? Why?
Why do we have to wait for these things? Can we always move as swiftly as we possibly can? So when we raise a related matter again, move swiftly. Do not have to wait for this. So we are waiting tomorrow. Hopefully, Dr. Kiza Besigye and the other political prisoners will attain their freedom.
Thank you. I am grateful that the ministers responded swiftly, but credit must be given where it is due. Nobody raised that matter. I brought it as in my communication. It was my communication,
And that's why, Right Honourable Speaker, you single-handedly took it up and pushed the
listen
minister.
to government, to opposition.
Yes. Yeah, we want to thank you very, very much and wholeheartedly for personally taking up this matter yourself and ensuring that we hold a committee, a meeting between the executive and this side, and you pushed the minister to ensure that we have results today. At least, we want to appreciate your personal involvement and direction in this matter. At least we are sure that if retired Colonel Besigye will appear in court tomorrow, what happens in the court will be a different matter. But thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for doing us a good job.